MES College, Marampally, e-learning.
Hi guys, a warm welcome to my session. Myself Shajan P. I'm an assistant professor, Department of Logistics Management, MES College, Marampally. So the session which we are going to deal today is regarding the international logistics management, and under that I'm going to take you through the session of railway transport system and how important our rail transport system is. So as we all know how much relevance is there for the rail industry in terms of the transportation of goods from one place to another. Mostly railway transport systems are doing their domestic logistics operations. So let me take through the syllabus first. So the rail transport systems comprises of these topics, which explains the type of railway wagons, the marshalling operations and yards, how actually the goods freight structure is designed in the railway. Then comes the railway parcel services and the documentation processes in the railway transport system. So this is a part which I have actually taken from the Wikipedia, which gives us a current data information about the Indian Railways. So as you all know, our Indian Railways is owned by the organization of Ministry of Railways, and as per the data of 2017, there is almost 75,439 miles of track over a route of 67,368 kilometers, and our railway network is the fourth largest railway network in the world after US, Russia and China. And the major fact that we need to consider is almost 1.108 billion tons of freight are annually transported as per the data of 2017 per year. So just imagine how much of freight transportation is happening in the railway industry. So it is more than that of the road mode of transportation, because it is the most cheapest method of freight transportation when comparing with the air mode as well as the road mode. And also a lot of dry bulky items can also be transported via railway. So this is a railway network map of India. So it's a little bit complicated when you see in this picture. So this is the trunk route which you can see in the blue lines. That is the electrified route, and the red lines indicates the non-electrified routes. So just see that how actually the railway tracks are going, which all distances actually our railway network covers. So the next area that we need to cover is different types of wagons. So wagon is a term that we know that goods wagon or freight wagons are an unpowered railway vehicles that are used for the transportation of cargo. So this, when you see this image, you can know that it's an open top wagon. Usually these type of wagons are used for the loading of coal or salt in any kind of metal like products and all, to transport from one place to another. So let's see different types of wagons. There are different types of wagons and the name is like BVOC, that is the high sided bogie open wagons, low sided bogie open wagons. So when you see the name, it will be a little bit confused, so I have included the picture in the presentation. Just see, this is the open type wagon. So open type wagon is usually used for carrying the coal, iron ore, limestone, dolomite and other kind of materials. And also available partially covered wagon for transport of salt, and open wagon are carrying iron ore at high speed. So depends on the nature of the product, the speed of the train also matters. And another one is the covered wagon, which is usually used for the transportation of cement, food grains and fertilizers. The name of the wagon is like BCN or BCN, that is a special type bogie covered with wagon. So this is as same as we see in our road transport system. This type of tank wagons are used for the transportation of petroleum products or naphtha and other petroleum products. So tank wagon suitably for bulk transportation of LPGs. So this is another one, that is low side gondola wagon. This is also same as a half opened or open top wagon, which is usually used for the transportation of iron ore from mines to steel plants and ports. And the simple difference between the the low side gondola wagon and other wagons are the body of the low side gondola wagon will be stronger than any others, because we are using this wagon for the transportation of iron ore materials, that is from the mines. So it will be not on a proper shape. So there is a chance for the body to be get damaged due to this transportation of iron ore. So that much of strong body need to be built to for manufacturing the low side gondola wagon. Another one is flat freight car. It's for usually used for carrying the steel structures, steel coins and containers, which is used for transportation of both domestic and international one. So another one is side discharge hopper freight car. As you can see that there is a hole on this image. So this is used for track maintenance and construction projects. So while filling the metals inside the wagon, and through this way it can be laid in the track. This is in another form. There is a pneumatic bottom discharge hopper freight car. This is also used for carrying coal to powerhouses and also available for the discharge of aluminium. So next term is rakes, which you might feel that's a new term. It's not. Rake is the same as we called as a bogie. So we know that what is a bogie in a train or a compartment in a train. So it's another name called rakes. So a rake is a formation of coupled coaches or cars that make up a train minus the loco. That means when we say rakes, the engine will not be added. So except the engine, all other parts of a train is called as rakes. So a rake is we can say in another word, it's a group of coupled passenger coaches or freight wagons or rail cars. So an empty rake is the one which is shunted to the yard after the train has arrived for cleaning and service purposes. So here is another term that you guys need to check into, that is shunting. Shunting means to stop. So a train is shunted means it is stopped in the yard for different purposes. It may be cleaning purpose or it may be servicing purposes. So different rake is given different names. That's like S1, S2, A1, A2, D1, D2. I hope you guys have noted in the train different bogies have different names. So this is called as rake. So another bigger area in this module is marshalling yards. So when we look into the term, it's like a new term. What is a marshalling yard? So marshalling yard is a place where the goods trains are received and sorted, reformed and dispatched. So it's a place where the goods trains are coming and going, and they are temporarily stopped there for the loading and unloading purposes. So yard has a network of tracks. It is divided into several grids for receiving, sorting, forming and dispatching of the trains. So work in a marshalling yard not only affect the traffic it deals with, but also the entire train running on the section in particular and working of railway system in general. That means each country or each railway stations have different kinds of marshalling yards to deal with the incoming and outgoing of the trains. So let me see the picture of the marshalling yards. You will get an idea. So this is how actually a marshalling yard looks. This is the place where you can look into this picture. You can see in this picture that this is the place where the trains are shunted. That means stopped for the dispatching of goods and for cleaning purposes, so and so. So this is the place where the goods trains are stopped for the loading and unloading purposes. So they need to have a proper plan and design while designing or while deciding the plan of a marshalling yard, because this yard is mostly used to control the incoming and outgoing of our goods transport system. So this is another picture of marshalling yard. So this is the arrival tracks, as you can see, and there is a hump. So after this hump, the train will automatically sorted into this yards. So this is another main line. When it is after the storage process or the loading and unloading process are happening in these areas, and when it is completed, then the train will be moved to the departure tracks and it will go to the next destination. This is another image of a marshalling yard. So you can see that how complex it is and how hard it is to manage the marshalling yard operations in the railway system. So this is the thing that we need to learn as a logistics person. We need to learn because this much of tracks is laid in a railway system to in order to ensure that smooth transportation of goods happens, because no train should block the incoming or outgoing of another train. So the yards are classified into three, that is terminal yard, marshalling yard, and transit yard. So terminal yard is, as the name suggests, it's a place where the wagons are stopped for loading and unloading process. And marshalling yard is also on the basis of the number of wagons dealt with. That way, so if the marshalling yard is another term or an complex term of terminal yard. So in a terminal yard, only 2 or 3 trains are dealt, while in the case of a marshalling yard, there are n number of trains. And this is a transit yard. So here the trains are received and dispatched without any shunting on them. In such yard, generally change of crew, engine, carriage and wagon, examination, etc. are carried out. So transit yard is just a temporary yard where the trains are stopped for the purpose of dispatching the goods. So here the train will not stop more than 2-3 hours. So after that the train will move on. But while in the case of a marshalling yard, the train will stay there for days or for weeks, so and so. So these are the types of marshalling yards. Another one is flat yards. So flat yards is sorting by push and pull method of shunting, and maximum number of wagons that could be sorted out in a flat yard without one shunting neck will be around 500 so in a day. So in a flat yards we can shunt almost 500 trains in a day for the loading and unloading processes. And this is a hump yard. Hump yard is hump is suitable for height is provided, and wagons are rolled from the crest of the hump to desired sorting lines with a gravitational force. So if I explain this, you guys won't understand. So let me look into this image. So this is how actually a hump yard works. So from this way, actually the train or the goods train will arrive in a transit yard. So from there, and another locomotive car pushes down a slope using pushes the cars down. So using a gravitational force, usually one at a time, to reduce the speed. So from here you can see a slope. So from this slope, the rakes or the bogies or the goods wagons will automatically sorted out. So this is how actually a hump yard works. And another one is gravity yards. This is also actually works same as the hump yard. So a natural slope of the site is taken to locate reception and sorting lines in such a fashion that wagons can be rolled from the reception to sorting lines without help of a shunting engine. So wagons on the reception lines are held in the position by the track brakes. The main advantage of the gravity yard is the reduction in the operating cost due to the saving in shunting engine hours. So while in the case of a gravity yards, no need to have a pulling engine. So all the sorting process will be done on the base with the help of the gravities. So these are some of the plans or diagrams of different types of yards. So here you can see the reception yard, the hump, and the classification yard. This is a figure of hump yard showing the reception and classification yards. And this is another layout. Here you can see the hump, which is a classification. Here actually the reception yard. There comes the hump. Then with the help of the gravitational force, it will automatically sorted out in the classification yard. Again, the train will be moved to the departure yard. This is also another flat yard with separate up and down sorting and reception come departure lines. Here you can see where actually the sorting happens. And here it's a down reception and a departure yard. Here also a down sorting lines. Here it's an up sorting yard and here is a down sorting lines. So different railway structures are designed for the sorting in and out of the transportation freight. So this is also a mechanized yard where here actually the trains will arrive in between the hump, and from here the train will be moved to the different sorting points, depends on the nature of the products, or depends on the departure or the destinations. So these are the functions of a marshalling yard, where a marshalling yard, the main function of a marshalling yard is for the reception of the good trains, and it passes through the trains after changing engine, carriage, and wagon examination is done in the marshalling yard, and also the breaking up and sorting of the terminating trains is also happening in the MY, and the reformation of the goods trains and the dispatchment of the trains. So the next term that we are going to dealing with it is the railway freight structure. Railway freight structure means the tariff rates that the railway impose for the transportation of goods from one destination to another, and the factors that actually determine in designing the freight structures is the type of the goods, that is whether it is a food grains or building materials and coals. So different rates, different freight rate is designated for different food items, not for food items, for different kind of products, and depends on the speed the freight rate will change. The more the faster trains, of course, then naturally the cost will be more, and based on the distance also the freight rate will change. And another factor which consider the freight rate is the type of wagons, whether it is a closed wagons or whether it is a refrigerated wagon. So the rates will be changed, and also the nature of the commodity, that is a liability to damage, liability to explosion, size and packing, whether it is a bulk amount of goods are there, the quantity of the goods. So these are the factors which depends in designing the freight rates. And the freight rates will start from rupees 85 and it will end at rupees 300 per kg. And the rates will also change when it is needed to be transported from one station to another station. And no reduction is permitted in the rates for commodities chargeable at lower class rates or for the movement for less than 150 kilometers. If you need to send a product or a parcel below 150 kilometers, then the railway will not provide you any kind of discounts in the rates. Whether if you have a large quantity, whether if you have a smaller distance, there will be no reduction. And the train load rates are about 10% lesser than the wagon load rates. And if you need to have a wagon, the rate will be higher than the normal rate which you use to send your parcels in a train. And special rates are given for the subsidized rates for if it's a defense material, if it is a postal traffic, then such kind of products will be subsidized, will be having a subsidized rates by the railway. So there comes the railway parcel and goods services, as we have discussed earlier. So how actually the railway parcel service works, we know that we need to reach it to a railway station. There will be a parcel counter. We need to inform them what our product is. We need to present our ID cards if we need to. For example, if we need to transport our bike or car from one place to another, documents that we need to submit is the original RC book, the insurance copy of the vehicle. The person whose name in the RC book can only have the authority to transport the goods. So otherwise, the railway will not allow anyone to transport the goods, because if there is a chance for theft. To avoid such kind of issues, they are having that much of security measures. So in case of parcel services, the person who sends the cargo should ensure that the parcel should be received by the recipient on time at the expected. For example, the sender shall ensure the reception of the parcel by the recipient at the expected time of arrival of the railway at the destination. If the recipient failed to collect the parcel from the railway authority will not take responsible to deliver the product to the recipient. So the sender shall pay all the expenses accompanying the return, the storage, handling, and etc. of the parcel. The shipping cost of a parcel shall comprises of the formalizing fee, the carriage charge will be there, the handling fee, and the storage fee if you need to store the products. It's for up to 24 hours. Additional charges will be need to be given if you need to pack the product, if you need to give any kind of insurance, if you are taking any railway insurance or cargo insurance, and if you need to have additional storage facilities, then you need to pay additional services. The railway cargo is not obliged to hand the parcel over to the recipient before it has, in case of using a courier service. And if the delivery fails, that means if the recipient failed to collect the product, the courier will be taken to the nearest rail cargo terminal. and the recipient can collect the product from there later. The shipment shall be considered late if the parcel has not arrived to the destination terminal within 24 hours. So if in case of any engine damage or in case of any accidents, there is a chance for the delivery getting delayed. So such if it is more than 24 hours, then the railway will approve that the shipment is late. So they will take responsibility to deliver the parcels to the recipient, because it is not the default or it is not the issue happened from the recipient side. And in case of international, if it is an after 72 within 72 hours, if the product has not arrived on the destination, then the shipment is said to be delayed. And the parcel shall be considered lost if the time limit for the delivery to the destination is overdue for 4 days in case of domestic and 30 days in case of international carriage. So for a maximum of 4 days we can wait. If it is more than 4, if it have gone or extended more than 4 days, that it according to the railway rules, it is said that the parcel is lost. And if you have any complaints regarding the damage or loss, it should be reported to the parcel counter within 7 days. And along with the claim, the damaged parcel with its packaging must be provided for the expert assessment. That means the details that we know about the parcel need to be given to the counter in order to check the loss of our goods. Then comes the key rail transport documents. CIM or consignment note document is one of the transport documents, as we know what is actually the purpose of a consignment note. So this document confirms that the rail carrier has received the goods. The CIM note actually remains as a contract between the trader and carrier, and it's not like a bill of lading. We know that it doesn't give a possession or ownership of goods to the freight forwarder, that means to the railway. And the details that is included in the CIM or consignment note is a description of the goods, the number of packages, their weight, the name and addresses of the sender and the recipient, and if there is any handling process or handling process is involved in the packaging, and that also need to be listed in the CIM note in order to avoid the damages caused to the products. Rail consignment note confirms that the rail carrier has received the goods, that a contract of carriage which exists between the trader and carrier. And all the points are the repeated one from the previous slide. And for this, one of the point that we need to look into is the exporters and the banks should be careful in dealing with a letter of credit demanding a rail transport document, because CIM note is considered transaction document. So because neither exporters and nor banks could secure goods as a collateral, so CIM note cannot be used as a negotiable document or a transaction document. It doesn't possess any money value. And another one is the forwarder certificate. So forwarder certificate is used mostly. The difference between the forwarder and CIM note is in the only one case, that forwarder certificate can be used as a transaction document because all the details filled in the forwarder certificate is as same as the CIM document. The forwarder's documents, for example, if you need to sell your product overseas to a buyer and deliver the product to the buyer's plant, you need to approach a forwarder, right? A logistics company. So you can, when you approach a logistics company, they will give you a forwarder certificate. It states that we accepted your goods and we will deliver your goods to your buyer's plant. So by using this forwarder certificate, you can claim the money from your buyer that we have packed the goods for forwarding. So you can pay the rest amount of the sale. So this is one of the main use of the forwarder's certificate. The next area is an operations at railway goods sidings for freight traffic. So what does it mean by siding? Means this is an extra railway track which is put alongside with the main railway track. So the main use of the sidings, I'll show you in a video which explains how actually the sidings work. So major rail users have railway sidings in factory premises so as to have door-to-door services and to avoid double handling from factory to railway goods shirts and vice versa. So that means a siding is a railway track which is put alongside with the main railway line. It is mostly used for the loading and unloading of goods to the factories. That means a railway sidings will be laid nearby a factory. So if the particular train can park their train in the railway sidings, then they can dispatch their goods to the factory. So that a huge amount of handling processes can be saved. There are different types of sidings, that is public sidings, assisted sidings, private, departmental sidings. So public sidings are actually owned by the railways, and private sidings are owned by the private persons. And assisted sidings is for the exclusive use of the owners of the sidings. So the cost will be jointly borne by the railway as well as the owners. There is a private sidings. So private sidings, which is mostly laid by the private persons or the owners of some companies. So they are mostly used using the private sidings for parking the trains which comes in front of their factories with their goods. So such kind of sidings is used for the loading and unloading process directly into their factory. So it is therefore desirable for the railways to encourage private sidings for those users whose traffic is amenable to handled in full train loads, such as thermal powerhouses, steel, cement and fertilizer plants. So the products can be directly loaded from the plant itself. And another one is the exchange yard. Exchange yard is mostly used for the removal of the engine or the rake for different purposes. So or train engine may replace or remove the inward or outward rake directly into from the siding. So I'll show you a video of the sidings, how actually or what actually meant by the sidings. For example, train A and train B are running opposite from two directions. One is traveling in 40 miles per hour and another one is 55. So the one train can park in the sidings which help the another train to move forward. So this is an example of siding. So in nearby the siding there may be a company or there may be a unloading station can be built. So when a train reaches the sidings, both the speed of the train should be minimized, and you can extend the sidings if you have a longer goods component. So I mean goods rakes. Usually the rakes are laid in the industrial areas for the loading and unloading purposes of the goods. So that's about the sidings part. And moving to the last part of our module, that is the organization of Indian Railways. So our Indian Railway is actually administered by the Ministry of Railway, and the Railway Board actually consists of a chairman, a financial commissioner, and there will be a 5-member in the committee, that is an electrical member belongs to the electrical field, mechanical, engineering, member staff and member of the traffic. And our railway is actually divided into 17 zones. As you know that we belongs to South Zone. So the main head office of the South Zone is in Trivandrum, and it is headed by a general manager who reports directly to the railway board. And under the general manager there will be an additional GM, and under him there will be a chief mechanical engineer, chief rolling stock engineer, and chief rolling stock engineer for carriage as well as for freight and goods. And the 17 or the 16 zonal railway, each zone is headed by a general manager. Sorry, it's not 17, it's 16. Each zone is headed by a GM. That means, for example, the South Zone, there is a Trivandrum Central, is headed by a GM. And under the South Zone, there will be several divisions of railway. Each zone comprises of a number of railway divisions. Each division is headed by a divisional railway manager. For example, Ernakulam division will be under a divisional railway manager, and under each divisional manager there will be different railway stations. Each railway division is a unit of about 1000 or above route kilometers of the railway system in its jurisdiction, because under each railway division it may lies in between 1000 kilometers. So the jurisdiction or the area of control for that division will extend to 1000 kilometers. And every railway division may have more than hundreds of railway stations. For example, under the Ernakulam division, we will have Alua railway station, so and so. And railway is a matrix organization with various technical and non-technical branches. So next to our Indian Army, the 1.35 millions of people are working in our Indian Railway. So apart from the train operations, the railway has its various production units where rail coaches, locomotives, so and so are manufactured and produced in different plants. So one of the biggest plant of railway production is in Varanasi. Each production unit is headed by its GM. So welcome back guys. After the session, I hope you all enjoyed the session,
And again, I hope you guys understood the new terms that we have gone through the syllabus. The new terms like marshalling yards, how actually the railway transport system works, how actually the cleaning process, the different types of wagons, so and so. So if you have any doubts, you can contact me via my mail ID, or you can WhatsApp me in my personal number, or either you can contact the college officials to have the materials, to have the study materials from the department. So thank you so much and all the best.